Hey everybody, pardon my slight delay today. Just wanted to make sure y'all could see me as well as possible, so slight adjustment of my usual camera position. Hope you're ready for today's Express Mind Body Connection. We're going to alternate between finding some stretches, opening of the chest, the back, the shoulders, and bringing some stretches into the lower body, particularly opening up our hips and creating some space in the lower back. I highly recommend that you bring a strap to today's class. If you don't have a strap, but you have a belt or a towel or even a phone charging cord, just something that you can use to create a grip and make a little extra space, and then just make your way to your mat. Feel free to bring some water or coffee or tea or whatever makes you happy. We got 1 more minute till we get started, and we'll start in just an easy seated position of your choice. No pressure. No pressure. What did I decide the first opening? Oh yeah, we're just opening up with some breathing and reaching, so cool. I'm gonna make my way right to my mat. As always, take the seated position that works best for you. I would also rather you have some extra props around that you don't need than for you to find yourself midway through class and think, oh, you know what? I probably could have brought a little something. While we have this 1 minute before we get started, please, I encourage you to create any stretches that feel right for your body today. And really just start to come into that breath. It's time. Welcome. Hopefully you're wearing something comfortable. If you need to adjust your clothing, give it one more adjustment right now. We're gonna once again stay pretty low to the floor in today's class, but I do intend to make Friday's practice a little more up, down, some bigger total body stretches. We've only got 30 minutes today, so let's get right into it. Take a moment, whatever seated position that you came into. Maybe you're sitting on a block. Maybe you're choosing to do your best for today's class just sitting in a chair. You don't want to sit down on the floor. You don't have to be folded all the way in for perfect pose. Maybe just 1 foot staggered in front of the other, or if it feels right for you, even opening those legs wide or kneeling. Just coming into the seated position that makes you happy. Start to ground down through your sit bones, whatever they're pressing against. Find a little engagement of that abdominal cord. Take any overarching out of your back, and feel free to place your hands on your legs to help you find that gentle lift. To find some length through the spine, the crown of the head, and a release of the shoulders away from your ear on your exhale. You're welcome to keep your eyes closed. However, if you do have your eyes open, find one spot to focus them. We'll spend 1 more minute right here just coming into our breath, slowing it down, taking notice of how our bodies feel today. Make sure you're getting that inhale all the way down to the very bottom of your belly. You're not just breathing up in the chest. Take the opportunity on your inhale to really feel your ribcage expand. Lungs are full, diaphragm is at its max, and then as you exhale, slowly, carefully, slower than you inhale, ribcage contracts. Continue to enjoy this slow, focused breath throughout class. Let it be your guide. Don't come into a posture so deeply that you only are doing breathing up at the top of your chest. Rather, limit the depth of your posture to still enjoy your full belly breath. All right, let's get a little bit of movement. Feel free to shake it out. Shimmy through those shoulders, maybe find a little rounding in your back, and then come back to some length. We're gonna inhale the arms all the way up overhead. I have my palms facing towards each other, and then intentionally releasing shoulders away from your ears. Biceps are still close towards the ears though. Keep stretching your left fingertips up towards the ceiling as you reach your right hand down towards the floor, and feel free to come into as much of a side bend that feels right for you, and then inhale that right arm back up, and exhale, left hand down. So really the amount of reach that you're gonna get to each side depends on the length of your breath. If your breath is really short, maybe your hand just reaches to the floor and you try to find some length towards the ceiling. But over time, you can really work to lengthen your breath. It doesn't happen overnight, so give yourself time. Be kind to yourself. Start thinking about what you came to class for today. Are you here for just a physical release? Are you here for just a mental release? Are you trying to really pair up that mind and body? Hopefully your intention was to enjoy both. Let's go ahead, get one more big stretch on each side. Beautiful. Release both hands back down to the floor. Take a moment, this time with palms facing up towards the ceiling. I want you to roll your shoulders back and down. Take an opening of the chest and then knit that rib cage back together. So just a little extra tightening of that abdominal core. Find some length through the crown of your head. As you stretch up and ground your sit bones, we'll take 3 breaths right here. Already, notice if your body feels more open, feels different, a little lighter in energy and breath than when class started a mere 5 minutes ago. Awesome. Next, we're going to do some up and overs. You're welcome to change the position that you're sitting in if you found that your Sukhasana or easy pose doesn't feel great, or maybe you want to alternate whichever leg you have on top. We are going to eventually be practicing some fire logs, some double pigeon. But first, let's work towards opening the shoulders. Again, all right, so using your strap, we're going to go for some up and overs. That just means that you're going to use your breath to inhale, bring your arms up, and exhale. Both arms come down at the same time. So I want you to create enough space in the prop that you're using. I know I said not to adjust our costumes, but it's okay. So that you can do both arms at the same time, if possible. If you absolutely can't, then it's okay to do one and then the other, but I want you to create as much space as you need to from the beginning to do both. All right, so finding that length through the crown of the head, taking that knitting of your rib cage again, finding some relaxation of the chest and the shoulders. Get ready to work with our breath. So using your inhale, bring those arms up overhead, and exhale, arms come down behind you. Inhale up, exhale down. Start to take notice of what's happening with your back. Are you bringing in excessive arching to your back as you are moving the strap? If so, inhale in that awareness, and exhale, try to let it go. Try not to do that. It's okay. It's okay if you still are finding that your rib cage opens up a little bit, that it's a little harder to keep that knit of that rib cage as your arms come up and over. We're gonna go 2 more times up and over. Can you bring your hands in a little bit closer? I know we're moving a little quickly today in this exercise. If you need to move a little bit slower, please do. Last time, up and over and back. Inhale up. Exhale down. Still enough time to get a 4-second breath. Exhale down, and once those arms come down in front of you, turn your palms up towards the ceiling. Draw your elbows gently behind you. Knit your rib cage back in, ground through your sit bone, length through the crown of your head. Shoulders released from ears. Take 3 breaths. Nice work. Keep your strap nearby, but go ahead, place it to the side. Next up, we're going to come into a nice half lotus, starting to warm those hips up. I'm going to turn sideways and start out in staff pose. So just a nice upright seated position. You can see I have a slight forward hinge. Better to keep that flat back and bring your belly towards your thighs than to have any sort of awkward rounding or whatnot. And your chest super far away from your shoulders. That puts so much stress on the back. So maybe just walking those hips a little gently back. And next we're going to come into our version of half lotus. I think it's so important for these exercises to start with the right side because we get some stimulation through the belly. So you always want to make sure that you're getting your ascending colon, then your descending colon. So for this one, I'm going to look like I'm doing the opposite of you. Go ahead, keep your left leg straight, and I want your left leg in line with your hips, so not open towards the side of your mat, straight in front of you. You're lifted right here in the chest, and we're going to draw that right leg in, and you have some options. You can think about yourself as being in a modified tree pose. If you're really tight, here, let me turn this way so you can see a little bit better. You don't have to bring that heel all the way up towards your groin, but if you can, either having that right foot touching your left thigh bicep, hips are still squared in the same direction as your extended leg, or if you're feeling a little more flexible, we're going to lift that right foot up to come into a half lotus. So maybe you can even bring that right foot all the way to your hip crease, to the costume. And if you're not feeling any sort of opening through that hip and a little stretch in the lower back, I want you to gently hinge forward. And if it feels like too much, you can always bring your hands behind you. This is the most awkward mat position I think I've done in a while, so I apologize. What if I'll just face y'all. I'll just face y'all. All right, we'll take 3 more breaths right here. Oh my gosh, I have my right foot on top of the left thigh, and it is giving me a little self-myofascial release in my very tight quad, just applying a little bit of pressure. Feels amazing, but if that doesn't feel amazing for you, remember you can always open things up a little bit more and still continue to hinge towards your straightened front leg. On your next inhale, go ahead, lift yourself up if you found that forward hinge. Bring your hands behind you. Extend both legs. Take a moment, windshield wipe your feet. Maybe shake those shoulders out. Let's do the same thing on the opposite side. So this time, right foot stays extended. Try not to turn too much towards that left knee as you either bring the sole of the left foot to your calf, to your thigh bicep, or if you're feeling a little bit more flexible, on top of your foot. I noticed that my other side is a lot more open. It's a lot easier to bring my extended leg foot up to my hip crease, and I'm much tighter on this side. So I'm not going to be able to hinge forward as much, but I immediately feel that big stretch in the hip. Create some relaxation in your shoulders, in your breath, in your mind. We're here for just about 30 more seconds. Really bring that attention back to your breath. Notice if the stretch was so challenging that you were just breathing up in the top of your chest, and bring your inhales all the way down to the bottom of your belly. You've got 1 more. And if you hinge forward, use that exhale to sit yourself up and across your legs. Once again, bob your feet, windshield wipe. Next up, we're going to go for broken wing. You're going to turn around backwards. I know we've done this one before, but just as a reminder of what's happening. All right, so you have a couple different options. Once again, for seating for broken wing. I enjoy doing this one either in kneeling position. If kneeling is hard for you, think about sitting on a block. But because we have some big hip openers coming up, I'm actually going to do this one today in deer pose. So I once again brought my right sole of the foot to the top of the left thigh bicep. And it's up to you how close you want to fold that foot in, or if you'd like to try and keep both of your legs at 90-90 and sit that back glute down. All right, we're going to bring our hands behind us, right by our lower back, and I'm going to draw the right arm over to the left side of the body. With the back of the right fingers touching against my ribs, I grab onto my fingertips and I gently start to pull. So there's a little bit of a opening of the chest shoulders, relaxing and releasing that right arm down. And the left arm folds back behind you like a bird's wing. And one of them is broken. You can guess which one. Just creating a nice stretch through the shoulder. This is also creating a big opening through the left side glute and hip. We'll take 3 more breaths. Find some lift through the crown of your head. Work to get both sit bones down on the floor the best that you can. And on that third exhale, gently release. Let's inhale those arms all the way up overhead. Give yourself some spirit fingers and exhale your arms down by your side with your hands behind you. We're just going to lift those legs up. You can windshield wipe them gently as you walk them over to the opposite side and come into whatever feels good for you on this side. If deer pose doesn't feel good for you, if you're a little too tight in your glutes and your hips, remember you can always come up to that kneeling position and take a little bit of the stress off. Go ahead, bring your hands behind you, low towards the floor and your back. I have my left hand on top of my right hand. With my back of the hand touching my back, I draw the left hand as close over to the sides of the ribs as possible. And then I take the right palm and grab hold of those fingers to kind of push against those fingers, using the breath to relax and release the right glutes towards the floor, and folding that right arm behind you with shoulders down and back as much as possible to create that big stretch through the left shoulder. We're here. We'll take 3 big breaths. How you doing, Uncle Buck? You look real cozy today. Two more breaths. Can you release those glutes down to the floor a little more on your exhale? Find out right here on your last one. And then take your time, release this bind with your arms. You can bring your hands back to the floor, windshield wipe things out. Oh, wow, that was a lot of shoulder opening. All right, so next up, we got a little loosey-goosey. We're gonna do cow face arms with fire log legs, because I thought fire log legs would be a little easier than cow face arms. So I'm going to turn sideways so you can see my upper and lower body. All right, so starting off, I'll be opposite you this time. I'm going to bring the right foot underneath, and have the right shin as parallel with the top of my mat as possible. And then you take the left foot and you cross it right outside of the right knee. And as you exhale and bring your glutes back towards the floor, you can start to stack your shins on top of each other. You might need to press into your hands and gently wiggle your glutes. Make sure that you're not directly applying force or extra torque, so you can even wiggle your ankles just a little bit side to side. And if your top leg is not going anywhere near your bottom leg, bring a prop in to make it a little bit easier. Cool. So whichever leg you have on the top is going to be the same arm that you have on the bottom. So bring your strap if you're feeling really tight. Inhale your left arm up towards the ceiling. Bend your right arm up towards the ceiling. Bend your right arm. And then left arm low behind you. Walk those fingers up. If you're not feeling any sort of stretch in the lower body, you can always hinge forward right here. But otherwise, just keep this nice lift. Try not to bring too much extra arch to your back. We'll once again take 3 breaths here. Stretch that lower elbow towards the floor. Knit your rib cage back together. Last 2 slow breaths. And on your exhale, gently release yourself out. Go ahead, extend both legs in front of you. Take a moment as you windshield wipe or bob your knees or shake your shoulders. Find out what feels good. And let's do the same thing on the opposite side. So this time taking the left leg and folding the left leg in, working to get your left leg as parallel with the top of your mat as possible. And then you can lean all the way over to the left like you're like talking to a friend at the beach. Hey, can you pass me some sunblock? Thank you. And then you take your left foot and bring it right outside of the right knee. So as you bring that left glute down to the floor, the right foot lifts up, and it's okay if you're really tight and if that right knee doesn't come anywhere near your left shin, because you can take a block or a pillow or a towel or a prop and just place it right there. Use your breath, and with time that hip is going to open up. So once again, whichever leg we have on top, that's the same arm that we're going to have on the bottom. So place your strap in the opposite hand. Inhale that arm up overhead, bend at the elbow, and grab hold of your strap as you walk your fingers towards each other. It's really normal for one side to be a little bit more open than the other, so no judgment if this side's really easy and the opposite side was really hard, or vice versa. You should feel a little challenge, a little stretch, but there really shouldn't be any pinching. So if you need to open things up a little bit more, I notice one of my shoulders is much tighter than the other, so I'm just going to keep things really open. I'm going to take that lift of the chest, draw the belly in, and knit the rib cage together. Now I wish we'd gone with foam rolling of the back and spine. My original thought, we can do that next week. All right, one more big inhale. Exhale. Take your time, slowly, gently release. Uncross your legs, extend them out. Wiggle your toes, bob your knees, bounce things around. We're going to go for a gentle spine twist, before we come into our slightly deeper seated spinal twist. So go ahead, fold those legs back in one more time. Stack your ears over your shoulders, over your hips. Having this like weird elbow thing lately. I don't know. Sometimes I like to just focus on the idea that like bad energy or whatever, not even bad energy, that like, you know, we're creating open connections, and sometimes you might feel like a buzzing or like just like a weird vibe in your body, and just continue to send good thoughts. Just send us some good thoughts. I love you, elbow. Stop being weird. Okay. All right, so from here, we're gonna take a nice gentle spine twist. If you want to, you can even use your arms. So you can inhale your arms up overhead and exhale as arms come down, and you twist just as much as feels right for you over to the right, and then inhale up towards center and exhale, twist to the left. Inhale back to center. Now, if you want to, you don't have to inhale those arms up overhead. I just really like to use my hands. A little pressure of the finger at the floor behind me helps me to relax and release shoulders away from the ears, to remind myself to knit that rib cage back together. Let's do one more time on each side. And then I think we're deserving of a little forward fold. So make sure you keep your sit bones ground. You can place those hands on the floor, coming forward with that nice flat back. Maybe you stay right here. Maybe you barely come down, just making sure that your glutes stay in contact with the floor. If they can stay in contact with the floor, you can start to walk your hands forward, tuck your chin towards your chest. Press your hands, palms gently into the floor with your chin tucked towards your chest to bring that big stretch towards your upper back and neck. And go ahead, walk yourself back up. All right, so let's come on into this super amazing seated spinal twist. All right, so we're gonna come back to staff pose. So once again, straighten your arms and keep that strap nearby. Yay. All right, so sitting here in staff pose, press your hands down to the floor to straighten your spine. Keep your eyes forward. I just am being polite and I'm trying to make some eye contact with you. I'm gonna look like I'm doing the opposite because I really strongly believe in making sure you do the right side first. So we're gonna kind of come into a half stump. So I want you to take your right leg and bring it in towards the center line of your body. Here, I'll turn this way a little bit, as much as possible. Bending your knee and placing your foot on the floor near your thigh. Distribute your weight evenly between your sitting bones. So take a moment to evenly distribute your weight and place your arms behind you and press your fingertips into the floor. Oh, we got a big hip opener happening right here. All right, the same leg that is bent, we're gonna stretch that arm forward inside of the leg. And then you're gonna internally rotate this right hand to start to reach behind you. Now the goal is to interlace your fingers. Turn around so you can see what I'm trying to do. All right, so you've reached forward as much as you can with your right hand fingertips, and you're bringing your right hand back around to try and bring your hands together similar to broken wing. If you can't do it, use your strap. And then I want you to find a nice lift of this chest. It's a little bit more advanced. We're gonna wait till we get our hands together. So we really take a big forward fold here. So focus on getting both of those sit bones down. And just that twist that's creating in your spine. You can be looking away from that knee for 3, 2, 1. Change carefully, release. Bring those hands back behind you, extend your legs, shake it out, shake it out. And let's go ahead and do our best to come into the opposite side. So once again, starting in staff pose. Start in staff pose. That little forward hinge of your hips. This time we're going to keep the right leg straight. And you can bring your fingertips behind you for some grounding to the floor as you fold that left leg in and bring the left foot as close to the right thigh bicep as you can. So just depending on your body, you might not be able to bring it in very close, and you might find that your left foot is a little bit more out to the side. That's okay, because you're just doing the best you can with the body you have today. And remember, every day is different, and this is just a yoga practice. It's not perfect, and flexibility is learned. So I'm so proud of you for just giving this challenging posture a try. You can see that I still don't quite have the flexibility to completely get there, but we'll never get there unless we practice. All right, so if you want to, keep your right hand fingertips on the floor and keep that strap close to your back. Right hand fingertips pressed down. We're gonna extend through our left hand and reach forward. And this reach forward is so much into our hip. Turn your palm down and then out towards the opposite wall as you work to hook your fingers and bring the back of your hands against your back. Can you bring your hands together? I'd like to pretend that I can, but I can't. So I'm gonna grab hold of the strap. And I'm just gonna walk those fingers a little closer together. Continue to focus on both sit bones down. So remember, step number 1 is both sit bones stay on the floor. So if you need to take a much more relaxed grip, if you can't walk your hands palms together because you are focusing on keeping your sit bones on the floor, that's cool. What a great twist. Try looking in both directions, both away from your bent leg and a little bit more intensely looking over that shoulder. Take 2 more breaths. And then turn yourself back forward on your exhale. Slowly, gently release. Let's take 1 minute together in a Savasana. So go ahead, extend that leg out. Carefully lower yourself down to the floor. Keep your arms close by your side. Heels are close and toes fall open. The closer your arms are by your side and everything is to your mat, the less that your heart has to work to pump your freshly oxygenated blood, continuing to just rush through your body and send all of the good vibes, helping to break down scar tissue and increase your flexibility for next time. Also, establishing a little muscle memory here. If you've had your eyes open for the whole class, now is a great time to close your eyes, come back to yourself, to your practice, to your pride. I do hope you feel proud of yourself for coming to class today. You're encouraged to stay here in this final Savasana for as long as possible. We've been laying on the floor for 1 minute. If you have 3, if you have 5, take them. So we'll close out class together here on the floor with our breath, with whatever our intention is for ourselves and for our day. If you have any questions or concerns about anything that I've said or we did, please reach out. In the meantime, until you see me again, make sure that you think good thoughts, speak good words, eat good foods, do good deeds, and all the things it takes to nourish ourselves from the inside to the out. Take care of yourself first so you can pour your amazing energy from your overflowing cup onto others, or keep it for yourself. Know that the light within me honors, sees, and is so thankful for all of you. I hope everyone just has the best rest of their day. Namaste.